Good Sunday morning, folks. It is good to be coming to you from the very first Sunday of February. Um, and this is the 7th, so we're a week into February. February is the shortest month on the calendar. And that means that, it is literally the only month that is exactly actually a true 4 weeks, right? The 28 days. And that means it's 25% over. And the reason that's kind of a cool thing is because even though February can be a hard winter month, I always felt like it was the last real winter month, and March was kind of that transitional time when the earth and the world was getting ready for spring. We started having some warmer temperatures come in. We still get some messy, sloppy, wet, nasty storms and some cold nights too, but it was starting to go the other way. So I always felt like February was the last hurrah of winter, and it's 25% over. So spring is on the way, folks. Maybe it doesn't look like it outside or feel like it right now, but spring is on the way. So anyway, before I go into the prayer requests, um, let me tell you our text so you can turn there, and then while you're turning there, we'll go over the prayer requests. Psalm 59, verse 16. Psalm 59, verse 16. And then Genesis chapter 1. And I'm going to read verses 5 and 31. Verses 5 and 31. So that was Psalm 59, 16 and Genesis 1, verses 5 and 31. So here are our prayer requests for today. First of all, remember Mr. Laughlin. Sister Elaine requested prayer for this gentleman last week. He's got, this would be her former brother-in-law and someone she always thought of as a brother. His dementia is really, really bad in advance, so we need to pray for him. We need to continue to pray for Adam. His back is still bothering him. He's still in lots of pain. I've had my own little bout with it this week. Nothing like what he's going through, though. But I get it. I have been in worse situations than I was in this week, and was a little bit worse back in my Christmas. But he's got it bad, so we need to pray for Adam. Pray for our sister Lane, sister Teresa's finances, and that God will help them and protect them and keep them safe, and keep all their children and grandchildren and great grandchildren safe and warm. And put your hand on Irene, who, like we mentioned last week, is in that nursing home in Florida now, away from family, which is it's a bad place to be anyway. And then with COVID, it's even a really bad place now. Um, Continue to pray for Leroy's legs. He's still got a little while longer before they actually look at those legs more closely and decide on a course of treatment or therapy. So he's dealing with that pain and the limited amount of time he can be on his feet working too, which that hurts their finances. So we need to pray for Leroy. Pray for Nikki and Nick. Nikki will keep, her spirits up. This has been a long, long road for our medical industry these last few months and for everybody. But man, if anybody has had to feel the weight of it, it's got to be people like Sister Scott and Sister Nikki, right? Um, Pray for them and pray for Nick. Nick, he may be, Sister Nikki, I don't remember if you mentioned this, but I know there was some exposures at the Prescott High School, so I'm assuming that's probably where Nick was exposed to. So, but just pray for him and pray that he's okay, first of all, but also that, you know, all this time of being shut away and kids not being able to socialize, it really weighs on them. And just pray that his spirits stay up, and pray for all of our kids in the community who have been exposed to COVID and their families, that they could bring it home to. Yeah, so pray for the families of Prescott High School, as well as Sister Nikki and Brother Nick. Um, we have some news about Sister Carrie. Some of the prayer requests we've been praying for her. We've got news on two different ones actually today, and one of them is really exciting news, and that's the fact that there is someone interested in buying her house. So be praying about that. That is very exciting. The other news, I don't think we can think of this as a good thing. She had scans done of her shoulder because she's been having some serious pain there, and there are tears. I believe Sister Cheryl said 4 tears in that shoulder. And I was talking to Sister Teresa a second ago, and I said, I think in some ways, she's Sister Carrie. You've known that you have something wrong there, and there's pain, and you hadn't been able to use it like you want to, and it's really been, robbing you of rest and just a constant, you know, thing that you're dealing with, um, at least now the doctors and you know exactly what the problem is and what was causing it. So maybe let's just pray that maybe now that there's some definitive information and that we know what the problem is, that we can pray for it specifically, that God would repair those tears and direct the doctors to have a course of action now that we have knowledge of what's going on there. So anyway, keep praying for Sister Carrie's shoulder and pray for that buyer on that house. Pray for Mark, Bob, and Sarah that those family relationships would be mended. Also, pray for Sister Scott. She is in Texas today. She left Friday and she'll be back this coming Wednesday. She's only gone 5 days. She's had her vaccination, so she's safe to travel. But her mom, and this is the other prayer request, pray for Sarah in her neck, and that's the reason Sister Scott felt she had to go down there right now, is because she wants to get some medical records and she wants to see if she can get some, some sort of power, medical power of attorney, figure it out, something so she can act on her mom's behalf. Because Sister Sarah, we need to pray for her dementia too. And all of this has, having COVID for that long period of time has also impacted that. And she just really can't advocate for herself the way she needs to right now. And this neck situation is very scary. It's not over. As far as we know, the bones haven't moved again since they did those scans a couple weeks ago, but they're still not right. They're still sitting in a very precarious position up against that artery. So we need to pray for her and pray for Sister Scott to have a good time, but also be able to make some progress and help Sister Sarah out, and then Sister Scott makes it back home safely. We also need to pray for Keith McCrae. Keith McCrae is a longtime saint at the Augusta Church, and pray for his brother. I don't personally know his brother, but both of them tested positive for COVID. And of course, they were around other family and other people. And because of that, the Augusta Church, as of the middle of this week, they had tried to not, come back and have live services, and now they're having to go back and do remote again because COVID has hit the Augusta Church. So pray for the McCrae brothers and the whole church in general, that everybody pulls through this and everyone comes through it okay. Let's pray for our country in general with the pandemic and the economy. There have been some good signs on those fronts here lately. Today, however, is Super Bowl Sunday. And if people behave the same way they did through the holidays, we might find ourselves, being knocked back a couple of steps from this progress we've just started seeing. But there are signs that the vaccines, even though most of the vaccinations have only been really given to essential medical workers, frontline workers like Sister Scott, and people 75 and older, already there seems to be some signs that this is having an effect on the virus and the pandemic. I just heard a news report this week that whereas the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex was experiencing like 3,000 new cases, I think they said a day, which I guess that's where Dallas has millions of people, so I guess that'd be right. 3,000 a day here just a few weeks ago. Now all of a sudden it's under 1,000 new cases a day. So there's definitely progress being made there. And so I feel excited and good that the future is going to get better and better. But anyway, keep praying for the country. We're not through this yet, though there are some good signs that we might be able to get through it soon. Pray for the economy. Pray for all the members of our congregation that work in the public, both in the medical industry and those who work, in service industry jobs, retail jobs where they have to, help customers. And let's pray that all of them are safe. Pray for Sister Barb and her husband traveling Massachusetts. Remember, because his sibling and spouse had gotten COVID. Suddenly, Sister Barb and her husband were having to do double duty to check in and take care of his mom down in Massachusetts, because they were splitting that up with his sibling and spouse. And of course, now that's not an option. They can't go around their, his mom, who I believe Sister Barb says in her 90s when they've got COVID. So pray for them. Pray that keeps mom safe, and pray that her sister and brother-in-law, get healthy and well. So that's our prayer requests for today. I'm pretty sure I remember to mention Leroy's legs. I have it listed here, but in my mind, I can't remember whether I mentioned that. Don't forget to pray for Leroy. He's still dealing with those varicose veins. And he's still got to wait a little while. All right. Our texts are Psalm 59, verse 16 is the first one. And it says, "But I will sing of your strength. I will sing aloud of your steadfast love in the morning." I will sing of your strength. I will sing aloud of your steadfast love in the morning. I will sing in the morning. I will sing. I will sing in the morning. Genesis 1, verse 5 and verse 31. Genesis 1, verse 5 and verse 31. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning the sixth day. All right. Right now, I want to talk to you from this title. And simply this: June. June. Lord, we love you today. We ask you to put your hand on our loved ones, put your hand on Mr. Laughlin, heal his body, touch his mind, God, with the advanced stage of dementia. Put your hand on Adam's back, heal his back. We ask you also to put your hand on Sister Elena, Sister Teresa's finances, take care of them, touch Leroy's legs and those varicose veins and the pain that he's dealing with, God, and give him some relief from that, get that fixed, God. Put your hand on Sister Nikki. God, provide for her. Let her have peace and joy in her home, as well as a respite and some positive things at work, God, from that heavy load she's been dealing with. Put your hand on Nick. Help him, God, to be totally over it and healthy, but also, God, to find, some joy in the midst of all this that's going on. Put your hand on all the families and kids connected to Prescott High School that were exposed to COVID. God, put your hand on Sister Carrie's shoulder. We ask you, God, you see those tears, we ask you to heal them and guide the doctor to provide and do the right thing to help her out, God. And God, let that buyer fall in love with that house. Let that buyer get all the financing he or she needs, and take that off of Sister Carrie's hands and let it be a blessing to her. Put your hand on Mark, Bob, and Sarah. We ask you to heal them, God, and that family. Bring those relationships back together. Put your hand on Sister Scott. Keep her safe as she travels. Let her have a good time with family and come back home rejuvenated and rested. Put your hand on Sister Sarah and that neck. We ask you, God, to let the bones get into the right position and heal. Lord, put your hand on Keith McCrae and his brother in Augusta. God, let them recover 100% from COVID and protect the rest of the church, God. If anybody has it, anybody else has it, let them get well. If not, God, don't let them get it. God, we ask you to put your hand on Sister Barb and her husband as they travel. Bring them back home safely from Massachusetts. Put your hand on her brother and sister-in-law. Help them get 100% healthy from COVID. And put your hand on her mother-in-law and protect her and keep her healthy and strong. Put your hand on all of our loved ones who work in the public, who work in the hospital, who work in the medical industry, who work in retail, who are having to be exposed. God, protect them. And God, put your hand on our country. Let us continue to make ground and come through this pandemic and help our economy recover and our country come together. And God, we ask you to put your hand on the lesson today. Let us, Jesus, be encouraged by it. Let us learn from it. And let us leave this session today better off than when we came. In Jesus' name, amen. June. I have an announcement to make today. You might want to get your calendars out or a notepad, maybe write this down. Here it is. In 4 months, it will be June. It will be. I'm telling you, it is going to be June in 4 months. Maybe you don't have to write that on your calendar. Your calendar probably already has that momentous occasion on it. But it will be June in 4 months. The sun, the sun is going to shine on your bare toes. You are going to smell flowers, wildflowers growing. Maybe you're going to sneeze because you're allergic. You're going to smell your neighbor's grill going as he cooks those burgers to the point where you can't tell them apart from the briquettes below. You will hear the buzzing of mosquitoes, and then you will light the citronella, and you'll smell that strange, aromatic, yet kind of acrid smell that citronella is. And you will welcome that, even though it kind of burns your eyes, because it's better than those pesky insects. You will visit with friends. We haven't got to do a lot of that in a long time, but I'm telling you, this summer, you're going to get to visit with friends. You're going to see kids splashing in the water at the park on Riverside, or riding their bikes while their moms talk about the stupid earwigs invading their gardens, or playing softball on the town's rec department teams. You will hear families yelling from the stands, "Come on, buddy, watch the ball. Good swing, son. Wait, run, go, go, go. Now slide. I firmly believe you're going to hear that this summer. I think you're going to walk through a picnic line. You're going to be marveled and rendered stupendous. I'm trying to find the word. You're going to be stupefied. That's the word. You're going to be stupefied at how much your cousin's kids have grown since summer before last. And while you put barbecue and potato salad that so-and-so made with a little bit too much mayonnaise maybe on your plate, you're going to bump shoulders into someone as you turn to go to the table. And you're going to see an old coworker that you haven't seen since they retired. That's the kind of thing I predict you're going to see this summer. I think it's going to happen. I really do. Right now, it's February. And it's not just any February, it's February after 10 months of pandemic. And when you've been hanging on that long through a long, long night of gnawing wind and biting cold, it can be hard with your bloodshot, wind-burned eyes to even notice the glint of sunlight breaking in the east. But I'm telling you, June's coming. In Genesis, in the verses we read in Genesis 1, and in a few others, he uses a similar part of this phrase too. But in that verse 5, he makes the day before the night. And I think that tells us naturally what we're oriented toward. We're oriented toward day, right? Moses wrote that God made the day and then he made the night, because day is supposed to come first. But he went on in that same verse, after writing day coming before night, he also said that the evening and then the morning was the first day. So he wrote, God made day and then he made night. But then he went on to say that evening would come and then night and then morning would come after it. It's like he showed both orders. Day will come first, but day will also come again. Morning will come again. So not only do you go into the night, you come back out of it again. I'm telling you, folks, write it down in your calendars. June will be here in 4 months. Isaiah 40, verse 31. This is a very popular verse. We love this verse. We even sing this verse. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk but not faint. Teach me, Lord, teach me, Lord, to wait. Isaiah 40:31. You're going to renew your strength. I hope, I hope maybe some little spark of something happened this week and you already kind of feel it rejuvenating. But if you're not quite there yet, hold on. You're going to renew your strength. And you're going to mount up with wings. I'm telling you, you are going to fly again. You're going to find yourself on the hillside and spread out your arms. You're going to do it again. It's coming. You're going to be able to have the energy, all the pent up energy of 10, 12, 13 months, 14 months. When did this thing start? April? So yeah, it'd be like 14 months by the time June gets here. 14 months of pent up energy. You are going to be able to run and not grow weary for a while. You're going to walk and not faint. You're going to go on a hike. You're going to see some amazing things. You're going to enjoy the sunshine again with friends. I'm telling you, it's not happening yet, but it's going to happen. I love the way Solomon said it in Proverbs 23, verse 18. He says, surely there is a future. There is a future. And your hope will not be cut off. Don't you love that little verse? Surely there is a future, and your hope will not be cut off. There is a future. It's inevitable. The sun is going to come up. June is going to come after May, after April, after March, after February, after the pandemic. Romans 8, verse 18. For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us. Now we know from the context of this verse that it's talking about the eventual glorification of our bodies on an eternal plane called heaven, right? How we're changed and we know the Lord even as we are known. But there's a principle here that when we look at our other verses, we see an analog of that or a type of that that goes on in the natural too. I'm going to tell you what, how many times have you had some dark, dark, dark nights, right? Nights when you just don't know how you're going to make it through them. And as bad as they were, as long as they were, as painful as they were, as stressful as they were, as restless as they were, how all of that melted away and has become a memory to you in the warmth of the morning sun. The suffering of this present time has been like no other suffering that we have ever been through as a world or a country in generations. And yet I am telling you that it's going to melt away in the glory that's going to be revealed after it. It's going to be something, a story we tell about something we went through, because June is coming. June is coming. David said in Psalm 57, verse 8, awake, my glory, awake, O harp and lyre, I will awake the dawn. Awake. You need to start making plans right now. You need to start making plans for what you're going to do when June gets here. Now, I know that probably there's still going to be, the virus is going to be around and we're still going to be battling it on some level. It's not going to be what we think of as normal yet, but it's going to be getting there. It's going to be different. I'm telling you, June is going to be different than it is now. I believe it. So you need to start making plans. You know, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Who are you going to go see? What are you going to do in the yard? What are you going to do in town? What are you going to do downstate? Where are you going to drive? Are you maybe one of these times when you have to go to Bangor, don't go to Holton. Take the long way. Go off through Masardis. We normally do that when the leaves are turning and it's turning gold and orange and yellow and purple, and it's beautiful, and I love that too. But you know what? After these last several months, I'm going to be just as enamored and just as spellbound by all the green. Take the long way. Go to Bangor. Plan that once you know that it's safe and you finally it's happened, go eat at some place you've never gone to eat before. Go eat some kind of food you never had before. Take a chance, not for the food's sake necessarily. You might find something to like, but because there's a lot better chance you're going to wind up sitting by somebody you never met, because June's coming. June's coming. Awake, my glory. Awake, O harp and lyre. Awake. Have you done the tour of all the French historic sites up through the valley? Oh, do that. Go to the Acadian Festival this year. Those people love having fellowship and fun and company. Go see that church up there on the border that's being restored, that old Catholic church with the gold angels outside. It's really pretty. Go to some kid's baseball game, even if you don't know anybody there. Go cheer some random kid at a baseball game in town this year. Because here's the thing about Presque Isle, especially, and thing in the county, even if you don't know anybody specifically on the team, chances are you're going to wind up sitting by somebody that you do know, right? Go to a rec department baseball game or softball game this summer of people you don't even know. I'll tell you what, I'm planning a picnic. I am planning a picnic because June's coming. I am planning a picnic. I'm not sure what all we're going to cook or fix, but I'm planning a picnic. You know, right now it's February. It is still February. I know it. And there are nights this week that it's predicted it's going to fall below zero a little bit. When I look at the 10-day forecast on weather.com, they have those pretty little snowflakes that they have for artwork drawn in on some of the days this week. It's still February. I'm even hearing new stories. We had new prayer requests today about more friends, more family, more acquaintances, neighbors, more people we know that have the virus now. Now there's also some scary stories about new versions of the virus. And, you know, our system of sharing information is all about the scary and the bad. And I know it's still February now. But there are also other stories that are starting to trickle into our consciousness in spite of how our society seems to hang on every negative detail. There are some positives that are creeping in anyway. First of all, there are more and more vaccines from more and more different. Johnson & Johnson has one coming out now. And there's another one. AstraZeneca, I think, was the other one. I think the Johnson & Johnson, you only have to take one dose. Jobless rates came down over the last few weeks. That's a good sign of the economy might be recovering. I've already mentioned rates of infection are falling. There's some good stories coming out right now too. Good things that I can't help but think. I believe we're about to start seeing some real positive signs. Right now it's February. But you want to know something? It's February. This is the 7th of February. And yet this week, I heard something. I was outside, maybe when I did a lot of that shoveling after that big old icy, yucky storm. That wasn't a typical 1st of February into January storm at all. It was a little too wet and a little too icy because it wasn't quite as cold as it normally is. And evidently, I'm not the only one who noticed the unusual timing of that kind of storm for this time of year, because I was out shoveling snow and I heard a bird singing. It wasn't a crow and it wasn't a raven. It was a bird, a songbird. The sun came out and I heard this bird singing a song. I have heard it before. I realize I hear it every year, but normally I don't hear that until April. And that bird was just singing away, loving the sun and excited about whatever's coming next. I really think you need to start planning for June now, because it's coming. Psalm 59, verse 16. I will sing of your strength. I will sing aloud of your steadfast love in the morning. Oh, I'm going to put on a concert. I am going to sing about your strength, how you protected us, about how we came through it and how we're still here, and how how I can hug people again, and I'm going to sing about how much I love the steadfast love that I feel emanating and shining down on me from the heavens. I'm going to sing about it. Oh, I'm going to put on a concert. I don't care if there's an instrument around to accompany me. I don't care if I'm on key or off key. I don't care who hears me, because I am going to sing aloud in the morning. It's June. It's June. It's June 2021. And summer is here. And everything's being reborn. June's coming, friends. Stay strong. Make your plans. I love you. We will be seeing you soon.